You have an upcoming meeting with one of the top KOLs in your territory, and you accidentally didn't spend as much time preparing as you should have. This is a common scenario that many MSLs find themselves in. What can you do? Vivek and I are here to help. We are going to show you several ways that you can use AI to help make your pre-meeting planning more efficient and nail that meeting with the top KOL in your territory. My name is Patrina. I'm the creator of Medical Affairs Strategy Hacks. This is a YouTube channel dedicated to helping medical affairs professionals demonstrate their value. One way to do this is through really effective pre-meeting planning. The better you plan, the better your meetings will be. And I am so excited to be here today with Vivek. I can't pronounce his last name. Can you say it for us?
Mukhatyar.
See? Yeah. Vivek, welcome. He is a top expert in both AI and medical affairs. And we are really excited to show you how we would independently approach this scenario that we presented before, where you have very little time to plan for your upcoming meeting with a top KOL. Vivek, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, happy to be here and always such a fan of your work, so Katrina. And let's get into this.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so what we're going to do is have Vivek show you how he would approach this, and I'll just hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you give me sharing access?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, absolutely. Post tools.
So while Katrina is bringing that up, it's one
I,
of those things. I wish I had a source like Katrina when I was starting my MSL journey. I started it back 2015, and this is where um, having understanding how to optimize pre-call planning would have been amazing, and having all the tips that she shared over the years. So what I've done is taken some of those ideas and converted this into a custom GPT. Again, how do we leverage AI to prepare for that specific meeting with a big KOL that's upcoming, especially if I'm a new MSL and I don't have that much info on the KOL. Instead of spending 30, 40 minutes, an hour Googling them, this is a simple tool that we built that will easily be able to find all the information relevant to the KOL. So I think the KOL here that I wanted to look up was Dr. Gil Josipovich, specifically a dermatologist who's extremely interested in understanding neuropathic itch. What this tool does is once you put in the name of the clinician, it will generate some information specific to them. So as you can see, to just make sure that this is the correct person, and because we know the LLMs and AI can hallucinate, so just make sure this is the right person is looking up. Next, we get a little bit of information on the research focused, recent publication, as well as I've also asked within my prompt for this specific tool, what is some of their recent public appearances, what they've done on social media, because now there's an emergence of thought leaders as well. And then as a new MSL, I'd like to understand what are the main topics I should talk to Dr. Josipovich about. And this highlights, especially in what are the newest advancements in itch research. We know he's a dermatologist, so extremely interested in this, as well as some of the collaborative opportunities and what areas he would be interested in. And so this kind of, in the very first step, saves you maybe half an hour worth of research. You can see you did it in maybe less than 30 seconds, and you can read background on it. So
This
back to
is
you,
so
Katrina.
this is so
Yeah.
great. Do you see what Vivek has done here is leveraged AI to give him a quick high-level summary. So, in the ideal world, we all have enough time to effectively plan, but that just doesn't happen. And so what he has done is ask the AI to give him this high-level summary of the physician that he's seeing. And in addition, highlight some of the discussion points. And something that we really want to emphasize today is that this tool or using AI as a tool for pre-meeting planning is to help you generate ideas so you can have a better meeting. It's not going to get 100% of things correct or tell you how to have the meeting. Vivek, did I summarize that correctly?
Oh, that's absolutely right. Right. I think as an MSL, like, these are just tools in the armamentarium. You do so many other things. But it's just your goal is to build trust and credibility with the clinicians and provide as much value in your interactions as possible. I think that will going to make long-term great engagements and build rapport with these clinicians. So yeah, I 100% agree with Katrina that these are tools. Use them wisely and make these engagements more valuable.
Excellent. Now show them what you did next. So while he pulls that up, guys, he was thinking, okay, I have to meet this KOL. Give me a high level summary. Then what did you do?
Yeah, so I found out one of the papers that he's published recently, and I wanted to understand a little bit more of the paper so I can have a more thoughtful discussion around the paper. So this is another sort of GPT very specifically designed to bring insights from the paper that I could have in the back of my mind when having those discussions. So not only will it first extract information regarding the co-authors, but also their alliances and affiliations with potentially a competitive manufacturer as well, so that you can have some better view and insights on what who they're currently working with. Next, it goes through the summary of the research design, overall summary, methodology, but make sure again when you look through this information, you still should read the paper and make sure that the information is accurate, especially if you're going to quote some of the data that has been extracted or generated by an LLM like ChatGPT or Anthropic, Claude, or whatever you have at your disposal at your organization. But also, what it also provides at the end is some of the limitations. This is what I really enjoy talking to clinicians about. What are the limitations of the study? How can we make it better? How when is this study? What is the correct patient population for a particular therapy or intervention? And then has questions generated for the authors, specifically in this scenario, this KOL. What additional things would you want to capture, or what other types of data should we work on next? And it gives you some tidbits on potential collaborations in the future, as well as gives you a little extra than what other MSLs may bring to them because you're asking questions, and those are always lead to really better engagements.
Yeah, this is so great. Right, guys, the point of building a long-term relationship is figuring out how to add value, how to elevate yourself to that level of trusted thought leader or trusted advisor. And I love what Vivek has done here with these limitations, right? It helps show that you are thinking very deeply about the therapeutic area and landscape. In addition to the questions for authors, I get a lot of newer MSLs asking me about, oh, how exactly do I have this conversation? This is a really great starting point to get you thinking about how you could guide that conversation. Vivek, would you add anything?
No, that's excellent. Very well put. Again, I will continue to advocate for responsible use of AI. Make sure you're abiding by your internal company policies. You're talking about making sure that to check for hallucinations. But overall, I think it gives you a nice tool to have these very deep, meaningful discussions with your HCPs.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Is it my turn?
Yeah, can you go through how you would use AI to kind of make my life much easier if I
Yeah.
had very little time to go through this? It's
Yeah.
been a while since I've been in MSL, but I still love talking to clinicians. So.
Wonderful. All right, guys. So we saw how Vivek would approach this, and he gave you some nice overview of custom GPTs that he wrote to approach how he would pre-meeting plan for an upcoming meeting. I did a similar approach, but I didn't make a custom GPT. So what I have here is a prompt that I'm going to take you through, and this is also available to you on the Medical Affairs Value blog. So you can copy this prompt, put in your own information, and then see what it puts out so that you can try it for pre-meeting planning for your next meeting. So what I've done here, and I'm going to ask Vivek to comment on it on things that he thinks is really powerful, or maybe he would have changed as well. One thing that's incredibly important when you're building your own prompts for AI is to assign the AI a role. So I'm not going to read you every single thing here, but I started here by telling the AI that it is an experienced senior MSL that's an expert in leveraging AI. So you can read that here and also get that prompt on the blog. I'm telling it I need help planning for my meeting. And then I put in some information about the doctor that I'm going to meet, as well as some of his recent publications. Now, the way that this prompt is written is to output 10 things to help give you ideas on how you can handle this meeting. So it has the key takeaways from the paper, challenges and pain points, value adding data and resources, conversation starters, key collaborations, follow up actions, non professional interest. All right, I'm going to pause there and see what Vivek thinks. What?
Yeah, this is so great. I think it kind of talks to your expertise in this area, Patrina, that you added sort of conversation starters. Those are some of the most challenging things in the beginning. As a new MSL, you know, how do I approach KOLs? What should I talk about? They have very limited amount of time, so you want to get the hook right away. And I think that's one of the things I didn't even think about. So that's
Okay,
amazing.
cool. Well, you can steal that and put it in your custom GPT. All right,
Absolutely.
let's look at the results. So here are the output from this prompt. So it gives some key takeaways from the trial that you can see here. And then we have some ideas around motivations and research interests. So I really like that ChatGPT here wrote Josipovich appears motivated by. And so it really highlights that these are hypotheses that you need to go check. So back to what Vivek was saying about responsible use of AI. You're not going to get an output from AI and go say exactly that to your doctor. This is more about planning for the conversation. Here are the challenges and pain points, emerging topics of interest, value adding data and resources, personalized engagement strategy, and conversation starters. Before I go on to the next one, I wanted to emphasize or point out something that I didn't particularly like about the output here. So this said as value adding data or resources, latest findings on this drug's effectiveness. Vivek and I are in agreement that when it comes to a top KOL like this particular one, you will not be providing them or educating them on data. They're probably going to be educating you on it. So this is an example of how you need to think very critically about the output the AI is giving. Vivek, any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think asking questions is in this setting is important. I think Patrina is absolutely right that you're not just data dumping, that you're finding meaningful. And what I actually really like about what aspects of personalized engagement, because the LLMs are pretty good at understanding language and what their tonality is, and it's actually pulled out what their expertise and what their motivations are. So that's an extra layer of intelligence that you have at your disposal when you're having this information, when you're utilizing this type of tool. So yeah, don't underestimate that. Use it and test it out and experiment with that.
Yeah, and I love that this first one under personalized engagement as well. Recognize his significant contributions in dermatology and PN research. Right, we know these top ALs, KOLs are leading world experts, and a great way to break the ice is by recognizing a recent publication or acknowledging their work. So here, like in Vivek's output, we have a list of conversation starters. Again, you wouldn't read these verbatim in your meeting. You'll sound too robotic and you won't be able to connect with the KOL, but these will give you ideas on things that you could potentially discuss that might spark the conversation. Here are some interesting things in terms of follow-up items. Again, if there were a request for data, I would send it. But as we mentioned earlier, this KOL is probably going to be educating you on data, not the other way around. And then I like that it didn't suggest something on non-professional interest. It
Yeah.
just said that there was nothing there, which makes sense. We provided scientific publications. Vivek, any thoughts or ads that you would recommend for this prompt?
Yeah, I think the areas that I'd like to kind of further understand is what areas overall, if we had access to all the publications, kind of the trends of how his thinking has evolved over time. I think
Ooh,
there's some
that's a good
temporal
one.
data would be useful, and just compare and contrasting these papers and understanding where those kind of gray areas are. Those are also great conversation starters as well. So
Oh,
those two. But I'm sure there's so many different ways you could use these tools to make your engagement even more amazing. So
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. Thank you. So, guys, check out the article that we have on the Medical Affairs Value blog. I'm going to give you a bunch more details around Vivek's thought process so that you can replicate that in an AI model as well. You can also take this exact prompt that I'm showing you here and plug that into your own AI tool and try it for your KOLs for your upcoming meeting. Additionally, we have one more treat for you on the Medical Affairs Value blog. We took this exact same prompt and the publications and put it into Notebook LM. This is Google's AI tool that's really good at note taking and that kind of stuff. And it's the one you probably saw it. It makes the podcast as well. Um, and we'll show you the results from that. And then Vivek, you had a great tip about converting it over to podcasts for busy MSLs on the go. Do you want to conclude with that hot tip that you had?
yeah, I think I'll just say that AI tools are going to be ubiquitous and they're just going to be part of your normal workflow. So it's good to start learning and engaging them and being very creative with it, right? So the way I've done this in the past is that if I want to learn about a paper or a new study, I just ask ChatGPT or any tool that you like, or even Notebook LM to generate a podcast based on the publication. And then on my way to work or on my way to my engagement, just listen to it. So, and again, this is going to be there. So I would start playing around with this and let us know if you have any questions. I'm happy to share the links to these custom GPTs too if they're useful.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys should follow Vivek on LinkedIn if you're interested in his custom GPTs. He's happy to share, which is super cool. That means you don't have to make them. Vivek, I cannot thank you enough for partnering with me on this. And it is just so great to see your process for how you would approach this. Thank you so much. Any last minute words?
No, thank you again for everything you do. And I know so many new MSLs that appreciate everything you've been doing.
Oh, thank you.
And whenever I get a chance to contribute, I'm very excited.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you guys. Let us know what you think of this approach. If you're using AI, if you try out the prompts and you get cool outputs or you don't, let us know. We are super excited about AI and want everybody else to be excited. If you found anything useful in this hack, please be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps it out. And don't forget about getting access to this prompt on the Medical Affairs Value blog, as well as other cool prompts that you could try. And if you're over there, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. I create content like this every week, and you can get a nice little email summary to your inbox every Monday morning. Thanks, everyone. And thanks again, Vivek.